To survive in the open ocean, an animal needs size, speed, and absolute mastery of its environment. We possess none of those things. Plunge a human into deep, turbulent water, and we are slow, blind, and frail compared to the apex leviathans that live there. Curious. Yet, long before the invention of diesel engines or steel hulls, people successfully hunted animals possessing 30 tons of muscle, relying on nothing but wooden boats, ice, and raw endurance. Bravery and a sharp piece of stone will not stop a creature that can crush a hull with a single reflex. The physical mechanics of killing something that large require more than isolated acts of courage. To conquer the whale, human beings had to change how they interacted with each other. The sheer scale of the hunt acted as a social pressure cooker. The pursuit of the whale was an environmental catalyst. It forced the invention of specialized social hierarchies and opened unexpected gaps in the era's restrictive gender roles. This map of the Bering Strait shows a narrow choke point, creating rich feeding grounds. Prehistoric communities survived here hunting seals, requiring only family-level cooperation. But hunting migrating whales required a leap in logistics, forcing isolated settlements to combine forces. This necessity produced a specialized leader known as the Umialik. They commanded multi-person boats called umiaks, organizing disparate family groups into a single cohesive unit, operating under strict, synchronized coordination. Millennia later, the 19th century global whaling industry faced the exact same logistical nightmare. Processing an animal this size at sea meant hauling the carcass onto wooden scaffolding, stripping the blubber, and rendering oil without sinking the ship. To manage this chaos, commercial whale ships functioned as rigid, racially integrated microsocieties. Crews of up to 40 men were divided into strict ranks, where survival depended entirely on absolute obedience and specialized task execution. Extreme danger in isolated environments creates a necessity for specialized social hierarchies. Whether commanding a skin boat in the Arctic or a wooden frigate in the Pacific, the environment dictates to social structure. As the scope of the hunt expanded, so did the problem of keeping the catch. If a harpooned whale dives under the ice or drags a ship too far, the entire operation fails, driving rapid iterations in weaponry. This prehistoric bone toggle harpoon was used by the early Thule culture. Unlike a standard spear, the geometric shape of the carved ivory and stone point allowed it to pierce flesh, then twist, lodging securely inside the animal so it could not pull free. By 1848, the American whaling fleet introduced the temple iron, using a hinged barb held by a small wooden peg. Once inside the muscle, the escaping whale's tension snaps the peg, forcing the heavy iron to toggle 90 degrees and lock in place. The ultimate escalation arrived with the shoulder-fired bomb lance. Hunters replaced muscle power with mechanical barrels, shooting heavy brass projectiles engineered to detonate deep inside the whale's vital organs. Yet, whether the weapon is carved bone or brass explosives, the tool itself is useless. It only works if a hyper-coordinated, highly disciplined team maneuvers it into striking distance and manages the violent aftermath. The industrial scale of 19th century whaling demanded voyages that lasted 3, 4, or even 5 years. That logistical reality drained entire coastal towns of their men, creating a massive social vacuum back on land. In their absence, women stepped into the void. They became the sole masters of their households and autonomous business owners, managing debts, running farms, and opening storefronts, creating wealthy commercial hubs like Nantucket's famous Petticoat Row. The isolation pushed some wives to defy social conventions entirely by packing up and moving onto the ships. In 1845, 19-year-old Mary Ann Sherman boarded her husband's vessel. The scandal was so severe, her family declared her dead and erected a gravestone in her memory. Those who sailed faced extreme realities. Women like Caroline Mayhew navigated ships through violent hurricanes when the crew fell ill, while others managed pregnancies and delivered infants on the high seas. And some discarded their gender identity completely. Georgiana Leonard disguised herself as a man named George to work the heavy harpoon lines, even drawing a knife on an officer who challenged her. The relentless logistical demands of the whaling industry unintentionally handed women a loophole. To keep the economy running, society had to let them seize financial and social independence, subverting the strict legal restrictions of the era. Whaling history is often measured in barrels of oil or the migration of species, yet the most durable artifacts are the social systems it left behind. The physical barrier of the whale forced prehistoric Arctic communities to forge specialized leadership and enduring alliances out of a barren landscape. Thousands of years later, that exact same pursuit stretched the rigid social structures of the 19th century until they fractured, giving women a rare pathway to autonomy and financial control. Hostile environments require more than physical tools. In extreme conditions, survival depends on the ability to reorganize the social logic of the group to meet the challenge.